Hi, I'm Shane Phillips, the CEO of the Phillips Group, and we're here at the HR Summit and Expo. I'm with Mr. Ron Thomas, the Managing Director of Strategy Focused Group and one of the leading HR thought leaders here in the Middle East. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So I guess one of the interesting topics is how is HR evolving? What does the future of HR look like?
Okay. HR's skill set is the same as every other skill set that's out here today. It's going to have to be upskill. Upskill means taking a totally different approach to a function that was basically administrative driven, process driven, and to be transitioned to a solution provider profile. And what that means is that challenges as it relates to employee engagement, performance management, all of those verticals inside of an HR department are going to have to be looked at to try and figure out how can we increase performance of the workforce, how can we increase engagement of the workforce, and not only that, but how do we upskill our workforce. With the advent or the discussions around AI and robotics and all those things coming through, someone within the organization is going to have to take the lead, and that falls into the HR space of figuring out what's current skill set, what future skill set is going to be needed, and build a plan around that, working with the senior leadership team that's making that transition. So if you think of banking, banking is going from retail banking to cloud banking. Retail is brick and mortar to e-commerce. Different skill set in both of those trajectories for future state. What about the skills in the organization if you're all retail based, or if you're all based just from the perspective of having a retail model and people are going into your branches. So someone has to get in the mix and figure skill set capabilities of a future focused workforce.
And I think, this puts a huge stress on learning and development.
Learning and development has bubbled to the top, because I even read an article the other day that they were discussing a possible new role of Chief Learning Officer for transition, Chief Learning Officer for making this transition to make sure your workforce is upskill and to make sure you have someone dedicated to that. It's more than just having a training department and offering courses. Those courses or training profiles or models of an organization has to be linked to the strategic objectives and the transition point as we know it as to where the organization is headed.
Isn't it a bit of baloney though, because you see these staff members, they go to the training session, they sit there, they're texting, they're whatever, they take it as a break, they come back, they're not actually learning, and when you look at that individual actually hasn't read a single book in the last 5 years.
Yeah. So American Express was faced with this dilemma, and after a lot of research, what they decided to come up with, the model that they built going forward, all the training offerings were connected to the strategic objectives or the challenges of the organization, and the employee had a say in what they wanted to be developed in. So if I'm working in human resources and you're sending me to a course on compensation, and I would want to learn more about analytics. If you would send that person to the analytics course versus the compensation course, the return on investment is going to be a lot higher because of the fact I'm where I want to be. But if you just send me out to a training course and it's just perceived as a training course I'm going to, I'm going to just check the box and I attended it. When I'm in Singapore quite a bit, and I have a lot of people that will come in and they will say, what time are we ending today? Because I have a conference call at 3 o'clock. I may be a little late tomorrow. I have to leave early. They're making excuses. But what's happening is the organization said, I want you to go and complete this training. Whereas the employee may have said, that's really not the area that I want to grow in. Maybe I want to grow in another area. So the American Express model turns the training and development over to each employee, and they're going to make the decision as to where they want to be developed in conjunction with where the organization is headed. And sometimes that may not jive, but if you think of return on investment, if I'm going to a session that I really want to find out as much about it as possible and really want to be developed in that area, the ROI is going to be huge as a result because I want to be there.
So it's moving more to personalization.
Personalization, yeah. Personalization through the filter of organizational needs.
Okay. Ron, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
a
you. Thank you.
big topic we spent a lot of time, but thanks for just sharing your quick insight into that. I'm sure we can find out more about you online, I imagine. Is that right?
Yes, on all social channels.
Excellent.
Yes.
That's Ron Thomas, the Managing Director of Strategy Focus. Is it Strategy Focus Group. Let me just do that again. Okay, let me do the outro again. That's Ron Thomas, Managing Director of Strategy Focus Group, and I'm your host, Shane Phillips, the CEO of the Phillips Group. We're here at the HR Summit in Expo, the largest HR event in the Middle East.